Let's move on to your book, which is called Pity the Billionaire, which is a great, timely topic because this week we voted, the Senate did, on the Buffett rule. It failed in the Senate, the Buffett rule, which of course is that secretaries should not pay more than their millionaire bosses in taxes. Failed, I love this, 51. Another one that failed got 51 votes. That used to win in the Senate. We'll leave that discussion for another day. Now you need 60. I forget why, something about a black president. Now, I'll be the first to admit that the Buffett rule is something of a bullshit issue. It's not going to solve the deficit. And actually, I read this interesting. Millionaires actually already pay, the richest 1% already pay 29.5% the average in taxes, and they're asking for 30%. But the capital gains tax, that's why Mitt Romney pays 13.9%. Because his money does all the work. So ask your financial advisor if capital gains.
So why doesn't
why
doesn't Warren Buffett pay his secretary in stock or take her to H&R Block? She's got a lousy account. He's a cheap. Well,
I said the same thing.
What's wrong with this guy?
No, because the principle of taxation is not about. You know, people say also about Warren Buffett, why doesn't he just pay higher taxes himself voluntarily? But the whole idea is we all have to pay taxes together so that the government can be funded. Right, it's not about individually. You know, if Warren Buffett could find a tax loophole for his secretary, the problem of fairness in a hugely unequal America would not go away. But she would just join the guys getting an unfair break.
But this really... This really is symbolic nonsense because it does nothing. You might as well just draw a name from the Beverly Hills directory, beat the guy in the public square, and force him to watch all the episodes of Glee or something to punish him. That's not going to do anything.
Kind of amazing.
That's not going to solve.
That's an HBO series.
No, it's not. But it's just a way to get the Republicans on record as saying we are not for raising taxes under any condition anywhere.
Right, but there's a flip side to that. There's another reason they want to do that. Remember, starve the beast, right? They not only don't want to raise taxes because it rewards their constituency, but also because it kills the enemy. It defunds the state.
But then when you look at the history of it,
it has actually,
Thomas,
done
let me ask you a question. In the 1980s, Ronald Reagan slashed taxes. At the end of the 80s, was the government, the beast, bigger? Were there more revenues paid? I'll give you the answer. I'll let you pause.
Why would you measure it that way and not by number of civil servants?
We're
because then I'd be right.
No, in fact, you wouldn't. But if Republicans wanted to starve the beast, they wouldn't have a larger government at the end of the 90s after.
When the government
2000 after the George Bush administration.
Well, that's because
the Bush administration
wanted to have their cake and eat it too.
The number of civil servants hit its all-time low under Bush. He was very proud of this. Talked about it all the time.
But look, here's a question. Here's a question for the liberals, right? Because
by the way, the civil servants include the GSA friends.
There's no question that, of course, Republicans, play a lot of song and dance maneuvers on this stuff. But the problem with the Buffett rule is that it's a song and dance maneuver for liberals that avoids the point that Chrystia was making, which is that the point of taxation is for everyone to pay to fund the government. And if you look at the growth of government over the next 20, 25 years, you can't fund it the way President Obama says you can fund it just by raising taxes on millionaires. So in the end, liberals need to step up to the plate and say you have to raise taxes on the middle class if you want Medicare to stay as it is.
Rob, you're doing like the classic maneuver here, which is it's changing the focus from income inequality, which is a huge and growing issue in the United States, to size of government and government funding. And it's possible to walk and chew gum at the same time. It's possible to say it doesn't have to, just because it's symbolic, it doesn't have to be nonsense. You can say that this is really important, fairness is important, and then you can also say yes, and balancing the budget is important, and having a government that is efficient is important.
Let me just show you.